Viewers, the other fault line that we are telling now is the one that is in the Indo-Pacific region, where China is flexing its muscles, where it deployed 3-ship flotilla to circumnavigate Australia earlier this year. Is set to be now the biggest contestation, the Indo-Pacific region. China's show of force has been followed by the biggest multinational war game in Australia, Talisman Sabre 2025. There have been 35,000 troops, 19 countries, which for the first time included Papua New Guinea, a country that is at the epicenter of the Australia-China conflict of influence in the South China Sea. The exercise is the clearest signal yet that Indo-Pacific security will require the Trump administration to remain fully invested. In fact, it's no longer theoretical. It's live on the ground and in motion. Our next report takes you deep inside the world's largest coordinated military drill below the equator and lays down what it really means for the region's balance of power. Let's play that out.
Countries come because they want to both be experts with themselves, but like Australia, we recognise we're stronger when we're operating with partners. This is why we have 19 countries here partnering to make sure they're as capable with each other as they can be.
That was the Australian military chief talking about why this entire exercise is so important. And this report will tell you more about the drill, the significance of this, and why this will be important if the Indo-Pacific tensions escalate from here on.
Across Australia, the terrain is alive with movement. Fighter jets tear through the clouds, amphibious craft carve through surf, naval convoys hold formation. This is Exercise Talisman Sabre 2025, a display of military coordination on a scale this region has never seen. Once a US-Australia bilateral drill, it now draws 35,000 troops from 19 nations. The goal, not conquest but clarity, to prove that coordination and peace is the best guardrail against conflict. But just off the radar, another game plays out. Chinese surveillance vessels trail the exercises, collecting signals, watching every move. No warnings, no dialogue, just a studied silence, strategic, precise, and unmistakable. Meanwhile, tensions spill into other waters. Germany accuses a Chinese warship of firing a laser at its reconnaissance aircraft during a Red Sea mission. The plane returned to base, but diplomacy didn't. Beijing denies the claim. Berlin calls it reckless. Brussels agrees. It's a pattern forming. Back in the Indo-Pacific, the strategic chessboard keeps shifting. India steps forward. The UK deploys its carrier strike group. Their declarations. Oceania is no longer a military backwater. It's now a focal point of global deterrence.
So this report told you what is really happening as far as this exercise is concerned. And now I'm going to tell you why is it that Indo-Pacific is going to be extremely important going forward. Let's put that out, viewers, for you to better understand that Indo-Pacific is the area where China's footprint is deepening. For long, China has been wanting to have a large play in this region, and those ambitions have led to very aggressive outward aggression tactics that have impacted not just Taiwan, but across the board. Belt and Road initiatives are around the world, but most significant in the South China region. All ASEAN countries, several others, those farther into the Pacific, are being pumped into, money is being pumped through the Belt and Road Initiative, which is how China is gaining even more leverage here. Exercises near the Australian coastline are growing more frequent. The one that it did this year in February, March was meant to send a very strong message to Australia. And Australia is extremely vulnerable because it is also China's largest trading partner, and it also faces the biggest security maritime threat from China as well. And Australia is also an alliance partner of the US, which complicates things further. Now, there is a triangle that is taking form there, and Taiwan is no longer the exception. Let's put that out. Taiwan is not the only one that is said to be most impacted if there is greater Chinese aggression. It could be several other countries Australia being one, but the entire ASEAN region also likely to be impacted. Next, US has tested the dependability of its allies in this region to understand through this exercise, through Talisman Sabre, as to where things stand in the event that there is an actual conflict. This also coincides with America's largest exercise that has taken place at the same time in the Pacific region. So which is why this is so important. But China has responded to it. It is also sending messages, and there is an expectation that as this exercise concludes, China may come out with an even stronger message to Australia, who, as I said, has a very precarious position. India has also moved on this with a lot of purpose, and the entire region is likely to redefine its role as this entire exercise comes to a close, viewers. And viewers, as far as this entire area is concerned, let's not forget that it takes one bullet, one stray instance for things to actually escalate. Germany's claim of a laser attack, Australia's close encounters in the Tasman. They are all friction points, but part of a larger concern. And that concern is that China wants to dominate the Indo-Pacific, control the seas that are lifeline to world's 40% of oil traffic. China's expanding naval activity all the way from the contested waters near Taiwan to the live fire zones off Australia's coast. This is not just simple posturing. It's normalization of proximity, of unpredictability, and something that is now going to be responded. This is the time when India has also participated in this. It marks a significant step in New Delhi's expanding military diplomacy, its strategic outreach, its ambitions as a major naval player in this region. After all, Indo-Pacific is named after India. It's also the core member of the Quad grouping, along with US, Japan, Australia. And India's presence underscores its commitment in terms of ensuring that there is a rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific, something that is likely to be a key focus area going forward, because as things stand, China isn't going to back down. Remains to be seen the learnings from Talisman Sabre, how the world is going to use, how these 19 countries are going to use against China going forward. All right, viewers, with that, it's a wrap of this edition of Faultlines. We're going to come back in our next episode with two more fault lines, two more issues that need to be decoded, where we go beyond the headlines and beyond the divide. But thanks so much for watching this edition.